Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Those iconic words, which could have been said by Jesus, are inscribed on a plaque inside the Statue of Liberty. Youth from the Northern Illinois Conference of the United Methodist Church traveled to New York for Plumbline Tour 2013, where they experienced its cultural treasures and learned about immigration and social justice issues. Let's welcome Brian Fu, who attends First United Methodist Church of West Dundee and was a part of the Plumbline Tour. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks.
How was it that you heard about the Plumbline Tour?
Our church handed out a brochure and the registration for the Plumbline Tour, and my dad gave it to me, so I thought I'd,
And what about it convinced you to go?
I didn't know a lot about immigration. I heard people talk about it, but I didn't really know a lot about it, so I thought it'd be a cool way to learn about it, and a trip to New York.
And go to New York. Had you been to New York before?
One other time. My grandparents live in New Jersey, and we'd gone there one other time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And before you went, you said you knew a little bit about immigration issues.
Not really. I didn't know anything really about immigration.
Okay. So what did you learn?
I learned how hard the process is about immigration. I learned that, it's not just people from North America that have trouble getting in. It's from everywhere. The Statue of Liberty was, where immigrants came a long time ago to come to New York.
What all did you see? Did you go to the Statue of Liberty?
We went on a ferry past the Statue of Liberty. We didn't actually get to go to it, but we did see it. We went to the 9/11 Memorial and saw Freedom Tower, which was to replace the World Trade Centers. We saw a lot of other places. I think the place I liked the most was we went to the United Nations, and that was a lot of fun.
Did you learn more about immigration? Did people give you lectures?
Every day we went to one building, and there was someone there who gave us a presentation for a few hours, and then we went on a trip somewhere. And I thought that was a lot of fun, and I learned tons of information about immigration.
What do you think makes it so hard for people now?
I think they've made it harder for immigration because of a lot of different views about, just immigrants in general, but I think it's unnecessarily too long to get them here.
Did you get to hear from many people who did immigrate years ago?
We did. One of the girls who came with us was an immigrant, and she told us her process of getting here. She was from Indonesia, I think, and her process of paperwork and how she's still waiting for it. And it was a lot of fun hearing about that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is there anything, Brian, in your own life history that makes immigration an interesting topic to you?
My grandparents immigrated to the U.S. from China, and that was, I haven't heard a lot about that, but it was, they both came for different reasons, but it's cool knowing I come from an immigrant family.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
It was just your grandparents. Mm-hmm. So you went, was there anybody else from your youth group on the trip? No
one from my church came. No one from any church around my church came either, but that's kind of a benefit too. I got to learn a lot of people from a lot of different churches around Illinois.
Good for you for doing that. And about how many students went?
About 19 students and about 4 adults.
Okay. And what was it like to stay in New York with a bunch of teenagers you didn't know?
It was intimidating at first because I'm a freshman and there weren't a lot of those. There were about 2 others. Mm-hmm. But, we all became friends after the first day or two. We all learned, hey, we're all here. We're all going to become friends. So it was fun getting to know all those people from all those different grades. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are they people you'd stay in touch with? Yeah, we still stay in touch now and then, and we're planning a reunion next year.
Okay, sounds like fun in New York.
Maybe.
Okay. Do you see any connections between church work and learning about immigration?
Definitely. Immigrants who come here may immigrate from a country that don't know about Christianity. They may come here and be like, hey, what's this whole new faith I see around here? And churches work with people who are coming to the U.S. on visas and green cards, and they're taking their citizenship tests, and they help them through it. It's an emotional process to go through it all that we learned. And it, like I said, it takes a long time. So building that foundation in faith, I think, really helps them know that they're in the right place.
Excellent. And do you think if you were speaking to people from a bunch of churches, do you think there's anything church folk could be doing about the immigration process or anything you'd want them to know?
I think there is. I think them learning maybe not as much as I learned, but learning just how hard it is. Like when we're talking about immigrants, talking about like they're objects or like they're not people. But when you really meet immigrants, you learn how hard it is, and that really helps you sympathize with them. And just talking about them like objects I think is one thing that we really need to learn how to stop.
It's a great insight. When you say it's hard, is that paperwork you're talking about? What are some of the things that?
It's paperwork. It's time. It's everything. When you're going through the whole process, it is a lot of paperwork initially, and then it turns into a lot of waiting. After that, waiting for years and years and years for just your paperwork to even be seen by someone, then you get to actually start, okay, tests and learning and memorizing and the whole American experience kind of thing. And while you're doing this, you're trying to start building a life here. And maybe we even met someone who had family still from the country they immigrated from. So that was also emotionally stressful for them.
It's a lot to juggle. All right, so I'm thinking 20 or so young people in New York City, it wasn't all learning. Did you have any fun stories?
We had a lot of fun stories. One of our leaders, his name was Chris.
Okay.
He took a few groups of students, and when they saw something interesting, they went to it. So we saw paparazzi outside the Plaza Hotel. So they were distracting the doorman. So we snuck in to the Plaza Hotel.
Excellent.
We took pictures, and it was a lot of fun. And we think there was a wedding going on there, or was going to be going on there. So it was.
That would be a fun time to be at the Plaza Hotel.
It was.
I'm glad you stayed out of the way of the paparazzi.
Yeah.
You had leaders with you on the trip. Were they church leaders, parents?
They were church leaders. None of them had kids going there, but they were all. 2 of them were pastors, and the other 2 were church leaders who stepped up in their church and led it.
Okay. What would you say was the most meaningful lesson or piece of information you came back with?
The most, I think, impactful piece of information I heard was that immigrants, when they're about to be deported, are kept in camps that are treated a lot like concentration camps. And kids and adults are all kept in the same place, and they're not fed very much. They're not given a lot of water. They're not treated very well, and they keep them there longer on purpose, just to, be rude. And I think that's something I think we also need to change.
Absolutely. Sounds like another job the church could maybe get involved in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian, for sharing your journey with us today. I'm Polly Toner for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.